Hey everybody, today's sponsor for this video is the movie review podcast Insomniac Movie Reviews. Hosted by Dylan Joyce and Brad Essick, these two make an in-depth review of the latest film releases as well as classic movies from the past. They're entertaining, comedic, and most of all, they are genuine towards their feelings of films and hold nothing back. You can find them on Google Play, iTunes, and Podbean. Of course, I will post links in the description. Thank you so much for listening, and now enjoy the video. Hello all my friends, welcome back to the Branscome YouTube channel. I am Nick Branscome, and today I'm going to do a video of my top 10 favorite YouTube channels. YouTube is my main source of entertainment here at the house. I watch pretty much all of my TV stuff on YouTube. Occasionally I'll watch Netflix or Amazon or something like that, but YouTube is the main source. It's usually what I watch, in the evening when I'm just trying to unwind and chill out. I'll put on some of my favorite YouTube channels and eventually just fall asleep to most of them, and YouTube will just play them all in rotation all night as I'm asleep. So I figured I'd do a cool little video of just my top 10 favorite YouTube channels, and these are not in any particular order, just going, 10 to 1, and not playing a favorite or anything like that. So let's get started. All right, so number 10 on my list, I've got WatchMojo.com. They are a channel that simply just does top 10s of anything and everything. And occasionally now I've noticed they've started doing top 20s of stuff, which is cool too. But they do everything from like, video games to sports to music to top 10 guitar riffs, stuff like that, top 10 sports games of all time and stuff. So I always find that kind of interesting just to see what they think is number one. A lot of times I'll watch and be like, no, I don't agree with that very much and stuff like that. But other times I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I can see that. So yeah, definitely go check out WatchMojo.com. They do top 10s of pretty much anything you could think of, really. And they're very, pretty well organized channel. So definitely go check them out. Next on my list, I've got the Trogly's Guitar Show. This is a channel that I discovered a couple years ago. I think I just randomly came across one of his videos, and what he does is he, at least when I first started watching him, he would, take guitars. He's kind of like an online dealer in a way. He would buy a guitar at a good price and then flip it, make some money off of it and stuff like that. And he got to a point where, he was very good at that kind of thing, and he could turn a real cheap guitar into a real nice guitar. And then he just started buying up, all these nice guitars and flipping them, and he posts a video every day, and he's got like one just nice guitar after the other. I mean, it's crazy how many nice guitars this guy's had. And anymore, he documents a lot of, and on his channel he reviews the guitars as well. He reviews them and demos them, and he's really knowledgeable. He definitely knows his stuff, especially in the Gibson world. He's a big Gibson guy. But anymore, he has been like documenting brand new guitars, which is something he wouldn't used to have done. But now he's getting all kinds of money from sponsors and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure. So he's able to document new guitars and take a little bit of a loss on them when he sells them, because he never keeps any guitar. He'll buy the guitar, review it, and then sell it on Reverb right away. So definitely go check out his channel. He uploads a post every single day, and he's, like I said, he's very knowledgeable and very good at what he does. So go check him out if you're interested in all things guitar. Go check out his channel. And of course, I'm going to leave links in the description to all these channels too, so be sure you check the description after the video is done. But anyways, let's move on the list. Next, we've got Lucas Fowler, who also is called Fine Tuning. Now, Lucas is actually a personal friend of mine. He lives literally just right down the road from me, but he's a very, very great guitar player. I met him through his band called Intertwine back in the day, and he's actually currently on his channel doing songs from the Intertwine's first album so far. I guess he'll get to their second album as well. But they were a popular local band around here, and some great hard rock songs and stuff like that. And he just, I remember the first time seeing him, he had this real soaring voice, like Miles Kennedy-like, but just to me a lot better. And his guitar work is phenomenal as well. And his channel is basically just centered around all things guitar, all things amps, stuff like that. You know, kind of the usual guitar reviews and amp reviews and little different musical things here and there. So definitely go check out Lucas's channel. He's actually featured me on his channel, and I featured him on my channel back when we were modding a PRS together. So you can find those videos on my channel and his channel as well. And so go check out Lucas Fowler. All right, next on the list, I've got weird history. So when I was in school, you know, I was into history a little bit, especially American history. Of course, a lot of times in school, the subjects can get real boring really fast. But Weird History on YouTube is a channel that, you know, documents certain periods in time and all of time, you know, including, you know, several years ago to back in like the Roman times, you know, and they just talk about stuff like they have a video like what were Roman parties like, or you know, the other one I just watched the other day, they uploaded, they were talking about the Great Stink in Britain in 1858, I believe it was, where the whole entire city of London just you know, stunk basically because there was sewage and garbage like rising up out of the Thames River and stuff like that. So interesting stuff, just, you know, all kinds of neat, weird things about history, and all their videos, I pretty much watch all of them because they're all really interesting and fascinating to me. So definitely go check out Weird History. I bet you'd be fairly interested in those. Right, next on the list, I've got the Guitologist. His name is Brad. He calls himself Brad the Guitologist. But he's a guy that kind of, he doesn't really play much on his channel. He's a very good player. That's the few things that he's posted that I've seen him, like where he's playing guitar. But most of the time, he's more of like I think he considers himself more like a news guy, like music news guy. And sometimes he'll talk about, you know, real world issues and stuff like that as well. But he has a second channel too. I believe it's called the Guitologist Channel 2 or something like that, which he seems to be more active on now. He still uses his regular Guitologist channel, but I think he's doing more on the second channel. I think he had some problems with the first channel as far as getting strikes and stuff like that, or getting demonetized. But he's a very down to earth kind of guy, it seems like, and you know, I don't even know if he's using like I think he's just using like his phone camera and stuff like that to film. I could be totally wrong on that, but that's kind of how it appears. Not that the quality's bad on his videos or anything. It just, you know, it seems like he's a very just kind of laid back, down to earth kind of YouTuber, and I really like that about his channel. He talks about some interesting things. So, you know, once again, if you're down for all things music and guitar and stuff like that, go check out the Guitologist channel. He also, he does like amp repairs and stuff like that too on his channel. So if you're into that, go check him out. Next up, I've got Music is Win. I believe this guy's name is Tyler Larson, I think. But he's a very, very good guitar player. This guy is, he does a lot of lessons and stuff on his channel, you know, a lot of free lessons. He offers like paid lessons too, like you can pay to take courses from him online and stuff like that. But that's pretty much what his channel centers around, is like kind of instructing guitar. He also does like a lot of funny stuff too, kind of comedy-esque music sketches. But he's, like I said, he's very, very good at what he does. He can play any style that, like, I've seen him play everything from rock to jazz to, you know, he's a schooled musician. I think he went to, I think he went to Berkeley, if I'm not mistaken, Berkeley School of Music. So go check out his channel. He just recently, I think, hit 1 million subscribers. So it's, you know, obviously a very big accomplishment, and his content is always quality. His videos just, out of a lot of the channels I watch, his videos look the best. Like, they just have a look about them that's really professional looking. And so definitely go check out Music is Win. You won't be disappointed if you're a guitar player. All right, next up, I've got SOFTDRINKTV. Now, I'm not much of a gamer anymore. Like, when I was a kid, I used to love playing video games. But I kind of grew out of that. Like, the console, I have one console here at my house, it's a PS3, and the only time I ever really use it is when I'm playing Madden. Mostly if I play a game any more these days, it's just Madden, like one game of Madden or something like that. Or I'll use it to like watch movies on or something if I'm feeling like watching a movie. But SOFTDRINKTV is a channel that he pretty much just covers sports video games. Primarily, you know, obviously he covers Madden a lot. He covers a lot of the old EA Sports games, like the NASCAR Thunder games and the MLB, I think, or MVP baseball, something like that. and he's done like NFL Street and NBA Street. You know, kind of some of those old PS2 games and stuff like that. But his primary focus is sports gaming, and he's been obviously very critical of the latest Madden games and stuff like that. But I kind of relate to it because when I was a kid and I played a lot of video games, a lot of the games I played was sports video games. My favorite game of all time is Tomb Raider, the original Tomb Raider. But I spent a lot of my time when I was playing video games back in my childhood. A lot of it was spent playing Madden. I had NASCAR Thunder 2003, which was an awesome game. So I relate to a lot of his videos that he posts, and he's become, you know, kind of my favorite channel whenever, you know, he uploads maybe once a week or something like that. So gets me kind of excited to watch his content. So if you're into sports gaming, I highly recommend going out and checking SOFTDRINKTV. You won't be disappointed if you're into sports gaming. All right, next up on the list, I've got TPS. I believe that stands for Total Pro Sports. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it stands for. But they are a channel kind of like similar to Watch Mojo, except because they do a lot of top 10s, but they're primarily sports. They do a lot of top 10 plays or top 10 fights in sports, and you know, stuff like that. And I think that's really fascinating. I'm a kind of big sports guy. I'm primarily watch the NFL. I'm a big Carolina Panthers fan. Any other sport I don't really care that much about. I watch college basketball occasionally for the Tar Heels. But like baseball, I'm not really into. Golf, I'm not really into. Hockey. You know, I have my teams that I would root for if I was to watch all the sports. I mean, you know, most of the teams I would root for are Carolina teams or teams that are close to Carolina. Like for baseball, I'm a Braves fan. When I was a kid, I used to like watching the Braves. I used to like Chipper Jones when I was a kid, but you know, I kind of just pretty much just stuck with the NFL. And but you know, with going back to the TPS. Their top 10 stuff I can get down with. You know, I love watching top 10, you know, plays or moments and stuff like that. You know, it's always real interesting to me. So if you're into that kind of stuff, go check out TPS and check out their content. All right, next up on my list, I've got a good friend of mine. Now, on his channel, he has a few videos. He, you know, uploads when he can. But it's Austin Blakley. He's one of my very good friends. I've had him on the channel before. And you know, he does music content, he does vlogs and stuff like that. So go check him out. Like I said, he's only got a few videos up, but he's, you know, trying to get back into the swing of things with it. So definitely go check him out. You know, like I said, he's a good friend of mine. I wanted to give him a shout out in the video, and you know, anytime he uploads a video, obviously I watch it the whole way through. I really enjoy his content, so go check out my good friend Austin Blakley. All right, before I get into the number one, well, I say the number one channel, it's just the one that's listed number one in this list. I figured I'd do some honorable mentions. Channels that I like, but I don't necessarily like just look forward to seeing the videos each day. I kind of, you know, if they come across my queue, I'll watch them, you know. But let's get to the honorable mentions. All right, so the first two honorable mentions, I've got Powerful JRE, which is otherwise known as the Joe Rogan Experience. And the second one is the Pat McAfee Show. Now, both of these, I really love watching these channels, but they're more or less, they're podcasts. So I didn't want to put them like in the actual list because they're not, I don't feel like they're true YouTube channels. I mean, they are, but you know, they primarily promote their podcast, which is, you know, on all the podcast platforms and stuff like that. But with Joe Rogan, I mean, I just love what he does, what he talks about. I mean, you know, it's a free form kind of podcast, and they talk about anything. I don't ever listen to his whole podcast most of the time. I just watch the clips on YouTube. And it's the same with the Pat McAfee Show. But yeah, Joe Rogan, I love most of the things he talks about because he's very, you know, he's very neutral on a lot of things. You know, he doesn't let his bias kind of get in the way of topics. Sometimes he may like pander more to his guest that he has on that day and stuff like that, you know, but he's not trying to stir the pot a lot of times, you know, with political or religious issues and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that about Joe Rogan. And then with Pat McAfee is a former punter for the Indianapolis Colts, and his podcast is just a sports podcast. And they primarily talk about about sports. You know, a lot of the, like, I used to like to watch Undisputed and First Take, you know, those kinds of sports debate shows, but they've gotten a little too, you know, political for me and stuff, and I don't really want to get involved watching and all that. But Pat McAfee, you know, keeps it fairly sports for the most part. You know, they talk some about some of the political issues that kind of surround sports these days. But for the most part, they keep the sports content good, and, you know, they have a lot of humor in their show too. So I really enjoy that. Next up is another channel that are friends of mine. They're called Smashfish Gaming. My buddy that I mentioned, Austin Blakley, a few minutes ago, he is part of that channel. Smashfish Gaming is just a channel where a group of guys get together and play video games, and they stream. They'll, you know, stream the screen, or they'll record the screen rather, and record them talking, commentating as they're playing the game, and then they'll upload it. And it's, you know, very funny stuff. Our band Nature of Rebel Minds, which Austin Blakley is a part of, was on one of Smashfish Gaming's episodes on their YouTube channel for Tomb Raider, the game I mentioned a while ago. That was my favorite game of all time. But they do, I've seen them do Yu-Gi-Oh!, they do Pokemon, they do Jackbox, which is like a Jackbox. If you've never heard of Jackbox, it's like this thing where you play games on your phone, but like the actual menu is on the TV screen, and you play with your friends, and it's a lot of fun. So they do stuff like that, so definitely go check them out. All right, and last on the honorable mentions, I've got Steve Terryberry. Now, I tend to watch most everything he uploads. It's just that I couldn't put him in my actual list because he's a little obnoxious at times, and you know, just kind of spastic and stuff like that. He kind of overdoes it, I think, a lot of the times. But he does have funny moments, and he's an incredible guitar player. You know, he mostly plays metal rock stuff, but he can shred with the best of them, dude. And you know, but most of his content is funny stuff. So, you know, if you're into music and, like, I guess you could say dumbed down humor, go check out Steve Terryberry. I love his video. He had one called How to Be Hardcore, talking about hardcore bands and stuff like that. And he was like putting on his sister's belts and stuff like that, not putting them through the loops on his pants. And he was like, oh man, society's not gonna like this. And I thought that was pretty funny. So yeah, so I'm sure most of you watching this video have probably heard of his channel before, but if you haven't, go check him out. You know, you probably find a lot of his stuff funny, and if you're a guitar player, you probably love his playing, so go check him out. All right, and number one on my list, I've got Chris Stuckmann. I would go on to say he's probably the most popular movie reviewer on YouTube. He, you know, reviews all new releases, and he does a lot of, you know, classic releases and stuff like that. You know, he's got a very good insight into movies, and, you know, that's kind of his passion. He loves film. You know, sometimes I feel like he doesn't like anything that comes out anymore, you know, and he's fairly critical of a lot of things, and I can be fairly critical of movies too. But I still, you know, really value his opinion and stuff, and you know, I always have my own opinions, obviously, but I always just love, you know, I love to hear what he says about movies, especially like new movies that come out and stuff like that. So if you're into movie reviews, go check out Chris Stuckmann. He is, you know, like I said, very passionate about what he does, and his channel, I think, has over 1 million subscribers, I think. So go give him another one, and go check out his channel. All right, guys, well, those are my top 10 favorite YouTube channels currently on YouTube right now. Obviously, that could change in the future. I could come across new channels that I really like, and there's a bunch of channels that I watch occasionally and stuff like that, but those are the ones that I'm truly feel like are my favorite ones. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked this video, maybe I can become part of your top 10 favorite YouTube channels. So give me a subscribe if you're feeling generous, and like the video if you're feeling generous. If you're not feeling generous, then I guess give it a dislike. But I will see you guys at the next video. Y'all take care and have a good one.